Today I plan on changing the thermostat on a 2018 Chevy Colorado V6 WT truck. The process I'm going through is I'm releasing the negative off the battery, just a precautionary measure, and then I'm going to undo the bolts over here on the intake, this coupling over here, one at the back, two on the bracket underneath here, there's one underneath there, and one at the back there. And once I got it all loose, I'll let you. Now that we have the engine cover off, those are the points that we had to disconnect. This one here, this one here, this disconnects with the little push clip, and then the oil cap, of course, and we'll put that back on just to stop anything dropping down there. And then we got the hole at the back there, and that's about it as far as removing stuff. So anyway, the thermostat is down in there, but first we've got to remove this plate and disconnect the water hose, upper water hose. I'm going to seal it off so that we don't lose as much coolant as we can possibly do, and I'll get back to you once we got that out. Okay, so now I've removed the upper water hose, and the bracket that was held on over here was with 1/2 inch bolts. So yeah, I think we're good to go now. Now we just got to get the old thermostat out. Once we got it out, we'll try and put the new one in. So let's see where we go from here. We got 2 bolts down there. I need to try and remove, and we'll see where we go from there. The last thing I want to be doing is taking off the upper intake. So anyway, we'll see where we go from there. Now I've loosened the bolts on the thermostat. I'm going to try and record it in real time and taking it out or removing the old thermostat. So let's see how we do. Alrighty, so here we go. I'm pulling it, wiggling. I'm at a slightly 45-degree angle coming out of there, but then I'm going up and down trying to get it out because there's a bit of wiggling going on. I think one of the videos I was watching about doing this was a lot of wiggling. So let's see how we do. We don't want to force it, we just want to wiggle it. We don't want to break anything back there. So not sure what's kept holding it. Maybe it's that hose. Yeah, that's that hose, that little rubber hose just behind this black hose. So okay, it's out. It didn't take too long. There's the old one. Looks fairly good, I guess. Anyway, it's I guess 5 years old, so I'm going to put in the new one. I bought the new one. GMC says the thermostats are on back order for a month, so I can't wait that long for a new thermostat, so I bought mine at Autozone. They had one in stock. Napa didn't have one in stock, so Autozone, here we go. Anyway, thanks. I'm going to show you how we put the new one in. So now I'm going to replace the gasket in the water hose, the upper water hose. I was able to get that from GM. That's the part number right there with the gasket inside. So I'm going to remove this and just replace that inside there for the gasket before we put it all back together again. So once again, that's the part number. Anyway, we'll get back to it in a minute. Just busy cleaning up the surface. I don't want to put the new thermostat on dirty or something that could leak through the new gasket, so I'm just busy cleaning it up. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to put the new one in. I put the new gasket in, the upper water hose, and now we're going in to try and wiggle this back in again. So let's get some light on the subject. So now we're just going to wiggle it in. We're going to get past that little rubber hose again, which is down there. So we'll get the screw underneath there. We'll put it through the same way it came out. And then we'll lift that little rubber hose just there. There you go. Look how it just wiggles right in. So now we're going to finger tighten. That went in a whole lot easier than it came out. So let's just finger tighten the and then I'm not since I don't can't seem to get a torque wrench in there, I'm just going to go a quarter turn past finger tight. I didn't see any Loctite on the other one, so I'm not going to put any Loctite on this one. So the worst part is this Colorado. I'm a 6-foot guy, but these Colorados are pretty high. You can't really see into the engine too well. So if you're shorter than 6 foot, I'd advise maybe getting a box or something to stand on to look into the engine. Okay, it's not getting in there. Okay, let's see. If we can get the one in, you know we've got the other one lined up, so. Oh, I'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, it took me a little while. In fear of cross-threading the new thread into the thermostat, because in order to get my socket in there, I had to force it through past the little rubber bushing at the back, and then in order to get it straight, you actually have to push it all the way past that little screw over there. So I didn't want to cross thread it, so using my long extension, I finger tightened it all the way down till I couldn't finger tighten anymore, and then I just gave it a quarter turn to secure it, because the last thing I need to do is break the head off. And then once I have completed, I'll check and see if it's leaking any fluid. If it is, I'll go back in and tighten a little hair more, but I don't want to over tighten and then the head break off in the engine block. Then you got all kinds of problems. Anyway, so that's where we are. We're going to reconnect the water hose, and goes right there. And then we're going to add some more fluid, because as you can see, the fluid is drained out of the reservoir. So we're going to top that off and make sure that the engine is fully up and running, but I'll keep you up on the process. So here we go. I'll see you back once we got the water line hooked up and as we're putting the cover back together. Okay, the upper water hose is now being connected, and now I'm going to put the engine cover back on and top off fluids, and I'll see you in a bit. So now I'm going to be using Prestone antifreeze coolant for GM vehicles with Dex Cool, and we're going to put it in to our reservoir, and then once we have some fluid in, we'll start it up and let the water or the fluid circulate, but we don't want to overfill it. We would only want to get it up to that mark over there. Once it's up to that mark, we'll stop filling. So but you got to allow the fluid to expand, and if you put too much fluid in, it could explode. So anyway, that's what we're going to do now, and we'll get the motor started shortly, and then let the fluid circulate through the thermostat, and then we can check and see if it's all leaking or not. Okay, so I put some fluid in just to have some as backup, and then when I start the engine and the water and the fluid starts flowing through the engine, it's going to drop, and then I'll add additional just so we don't get any air in the line. So I may have failed to mention, I'm using the premix, so it's already 50-50. Don't have to mix it. So I've connected up the negative, so we're ready to go. So it may take some time for the engine to get warm and the thermostat to open, but that would be it. Anyway, that's the job for today. Pretty successful so far, and I don't see any leaks at the moment, but we'll see when the water temperature picks up if there are any leaks. So okay, engine looks like it's up at operating temperature. So the fluid hasn't fluctuated, so now I'm just going to cap it off and call it a job well done. There are no apparent leaks. You can see down there near the serpentine belt, that's where water should be leaking out of, but there is no fluid, so I think we're good to go. Hope you enjoyed the video.